Yo, can you hear me? You listening to
WAW. What a week.
What a week.
Eta, hola, Big Dog, DJ Fresh. This is WAW. What a week. Thank you as always for choosing us. You could be anywhere else, but you chose to tune in. You chose to watch us. Jam-packed show. Most importantly, we need you to participate, comment, share your views. If you disagree, do that. Jam-packed show coming up next.
This is WAW. What a week.
What a week. You can't make this shit up.
Welcome to You Can't Make This Ish Up. Our comedian guest is in the building. She is a returning soldier, this one. She's coming back for more love. It's a love back situation. Now, the first time I interviewed her was literally Valentine's Day, 2013 at 5FM. The next time I interviewed her was Valentine's Day, 2019 at Metro FM.
Oh, wow.
She's back for even more love, but not on Valentine's Day. Please make some noise for Celeste Ntuli.
Yeah! Bo, 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 bo.
Hello, girl.
Hi, how are you,
doing?
Fresh?
We partied together this past weekend.
I know. Ish. Go back and you know, it was one of those, they said, come to the restaurant. I thought it was a restaurant thing.
Ah, yes.
Because we were supposed to meet with the tracksuit. I'm like, hey, bro, this is a full-on party, mos.
Yeah.
And I went to the comedy club and I came back. You know, it's nice when I went to perform and I came back to the thing. That's when I found you.
No, because I get to Rockers, they're like, oh yeah, Celeste has gone to do her show, but she's coming back.
Yeah.
Then I knew it's going to be one of those nights.
No, I haven't had those nights in the longest time. It was hectic.
Now, I've been interviewing you for the last 11 years now.
Damn.
Tell us, in your humble opinion, about the evolution of Celeste, the evolution of your comedy, and the evolution of the woman that is sitting here over the past 11 years.
Comedy has helped me to find myself in many ways.
Sure.
And then the voice.
Yeah.
As in, you know, when I came here and you said, I said, hey, Fresh, let's talk about easy stuff. I talk about everything else, and I know you've spoken, it's you, it's Smooth, it's Penwell.
Sure.
Almost everyone else has been asking me about this podcast thing. Yeah. I think I am struggling with understanding. Now I know who I am whenever I'm in these spaces.
Sure.
People take out the interviews and they dwell on it. And like someone was telling me about something I said in 2015 about Russia and, you know, and I'll be like, oh, damn. Imagine if I have a podcast, that means every other day. Yeah. But I think also there's a little bit of imposter syndrome because I'm still getting to know myself.
Sure.
But I know now that I talk very deep. I'm a very deep thinker. I love the fact that people have been enjoying my surface understanding of life in comedy, humor, lightness. But I know that I can go deep with conversations.
Absolutely.
But I think I have not really balanced the two because I've seen what happens with comedians who have strong voice and opinions, just like myself.
Well, what happens?
It's better if you package it in a comedy way, because people get
say it at the comedy show.
Say it at the comedy show,
not on a podcast.
Because let me tell you, I know why. Who's this Ukrainian president? He was a comedian.
Volodymyr Zelensky.
It's easy for any comedian to become a politician.
Absolutely.
And once people get to see that part of you, they tend to be like, hi, that means you are off this politics. Like during the voting seasons, most people wanted to know, okay, Celeste, what political party, what are your I do have political views, of course, but I don't want them to be linked to my comedy.
Absolutely.
I'm very particular about my comedy.
But also because we know how childish people out there are.
I know.
They'll
and
hold something against you.
I understand why Trevor's and Dave Chappelle's, their podcasts, you pay for them.
Sure.
Because something has to give. I can't be giving a material for free for your likes. And the next thing, I'm just trending.
Absolutely. Now, we've called you here for a big show that you've been pushing for the last almost 2 months now.
Oh, months. I learned a lot. I learned a lesson last year. I did a show last year. And we don't talk about these humbling experiences a lot. We talk about, it was dope. Last year, I did the Celeste Big Dude for the first time, and it was on my birthday weekend. Literally on my birthday. The day before the show, I was told that, Celeste, you might have to cancel this.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, but what do you mean? You've been quiet all along, you didn't tell me. And I didn't realize my birthday is on the 25th of August. That was the payday. So I got most people walking in on the day. And I was like, never again. After COVID, I think also all of us as entertainers, give people time.
Absolutely.
If Edgar's making people pay installments, you must understand.
Yeah, you must have a payment plan.
So I think gone are the days where we're going to have luxury out of just telling people in 2 months that I have a show.
Absolutely.
And also because I wanted it to be such a curated show, not just any other show where, you see, when we do our posters, you just see someone else's head. I wanted to do the whole photo shoot to do it so nicely and to honor the people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I put on a show. Like, I'm going to have a band. I have a whole thing.
You could have done a show with a variety of comedians.
Yeah.
You could have done it with other women. But you've gone with Celeste and the Big... I'm going to say Big Jews. That's what we used to call Brenda.
Really?
Brenda and the Big Jews. How a black pale. So why have you gone with a bunch of dudes on the show?
Literally the actual Brenda and the big dudes, and shout out to Bongani first. I met him a couple of days, and I felt like, I got a nice, because I'm ripping off obviously what was there as a Brenda and the big dudes. For me, the big dudes are the big dudes of comedy. One day it will be a woman, as long as they are big dudes. Like everyone else on that lineup is a headliner.
Sure.
Everyone on that lineup has their shows.
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes we didn't do that much on comedy front. You'll have a bigger comedians with maybe smaller comedians, or say new comedians, people who are not as seasoned. But sometimes it's nice to play with, play with your peers. Like, I don't even know. I'm still going to be like, who's going to be closing, who's going to open the show? Because the show is amazing for everyone else. And last year, that's what I heard as well. Everyone was like, hey, Celeste, that show is funny. Everyone was funny from the beginning to end.
Yes, and like you're saying, I mean, everyone in Celeste and the Big Jews is a headliner.
Yeah. So that's why they're big dudes.
So you are literally curating a show of heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters, proper heavy hitters. And looking forward to have international acts as well in it. Because it has to make sense. It has to know why. You have to know why it's big dudes. I want people to, in the long run, for people to... This show, it's a show that I'm planning to have it every year.
Sure.
That... You don't even want to know who's on the lineup
because
you know exactly. Because I'm not worried about whether the show is going to be funny or not funny.
Sure.
Now it's because I'm putting extra stuff. I've got a band. I've got a musician. Sure. Hey guys, yeah.
Yo.
No, this time it's fun.
And I often speak to promoters of events about that you need to get your shows to a level where people buy tickets without knowing the lineup.
Exactly.
Because they understand the quality that is being curated.
Exactly.
They understand that you're going to be entertained. It's going to be memorable. It's going to be impactful.
Exactly. I think we all need to do that, and I think that. We wait for brands to curate such for us, which is why I also do that. I wanted to curate. It can't be just a comedy show.
Build the thing,
exactly,
and then sponsors will eventually say, "Hey, I want to be a part of that thing because you've built a cool thing." So build the thing, guys. Don't wait for sponsors.
Oh no!
Build the thing.
I just did. I think Paramount jumped into the show 2-3 weeks, which is great.
Because you're building the thing.
Exactly. And I'm great with it. Kai FM is coming through, thank you.
Because you're building the thing.
I'm building something. So I'm very happy with it. And I've been doing shows since 2010.
Are you nervous?
I am nervous. I'm excited, but I love where we are. I feel like we are in a good space in South Africa.
Yeah.
We are now talking about stuff that we need to talk about.
Absolutely.
And it's not for the particular few. And after the GNU, everyone understands now. Everyone is on their tippy toes like, are things going to change, or is it going to change for the better for us? And it also, I think it unpacks us as a society where we are.
Absolutely.
I'm happy for it because it was starting to become a conversation for the few.
Exactly.
And for others, they are just... And I'm happy to finally have I feel like we have... Because for the longest time, we've had this whole thing of like, okay, they're black people, you know what, clever blacks,
Yeah.
and then those are those who don't even care about politics. And now I feel like there's a lot of consciousness that has happened with people.
We're waking up to ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was in Cape Town, and when I was flying back the other week, I was performing in Cape Town, and when I came back in the lounge, and I wanted to go get some coffee because it was cold. And I asked for the coffee, and the guy said, "So you wanted milk?" And I said, "Yeah, milk." I said, "Oh yeah, it's better. It can't be too black. It's like me and you." So something about because he's also a black guy, like he's very dark. It's like, "Oh, if me and you can have a child, we'll need some chocolate." I was like, caramel stuff. I said, "You guys, that's a problem." Yeah. The notion of that you hate the dark, me, I love dark people. I love my skin. I was like, what's wrong with it? Maybe here in Cape Town you have a problem. The GNU is within you. He started laughing. I knew I was taking it far, but
No, but it's the truth though. At some stage, how dark you are shouldn't be of no consequence. It should be of zero consequence how dark you are.
But I think we have to unpack it. And I know we have that issue now with Miss South Africa coming through. And I love the fact that we spoke about the one who's Nigerian, and then the Chinese came, and then the responses were not the same.
Oh, you're going to be starting with Miss South Africa. What's her name?
Miss South Africa lady.
Chidima Adechina.
Yes.
Dad is Nigerian. Mom is Mozambican.
And apparently he was
of Mozambican descent.
Descent, yes.
But I think born and raised in Soweto.
Yes.
And now people are saying, but she's not South African enough to be a Miss South Africa. But other people are saying, but she was born in South Africa. So why can't she represent the country?
But the thing is, I hear that conversation. My thing was, the conversation is not the same when there was that another one, the Wang, the Chinese lady. Because there's another one who's Chinese, right?
No, in fact, Vanessa Carrera was born to Portuguese parents.
All right.
And it was never a big deal.
I think that's where we need to have a
Vanessa
conversation.
Carrera's parents were not born here, but she became in South Africa. It wasn't a big deal.
You see,
So do we have a problem with Nigeria? Is that what we're saying?
We have a problem with Nigerian illegal stuff that is happening. Definitely, that is clear.
Okay.
But I think there's also a projection, because whenever we talk about this, because whether we have issues of illegal, we do. I'm not saying we don't. People must not come.
No, we have an immigration problem.
We are Jolofina. I'm not Jolofinaring. And I don't know why people, whenever you have this conversation, like, are you a Jolofina or not Jolofina? No, I'm unpacking. I'm an African. So this is the thing. I feel because we do have an immigrant problem and an illegal immigrant problem.
Sure.
And it's not our problem as a society really as much as it's a problem of our police department. I think our security and police department is, because no one's going to let anyone come in without no documents, whatever. Things are happening there.
There must be a political will to deal with illegal immigration.
Exactly.
Full stop. Just like there must be a political will to clean up Johannesburg.
Exactly.
If you wanted to clean up Jozi, you could clean up Jozi like this.
But what I'm running away from is for us now to let that part of illegal immigrants and people who are criminals to spill over everyone else.
Absolutely.
If we're going to say, all I'm saying, let's keep the same energy.
Sure.
If Chinese can sing Khosi Nkosi and South Africa is for all who live in it. Now that's why it's going to be. Because in the next 10 years, we're going to have even Pakistanians trying to be Miss South Africa. Herrera Ndlovu. Abdul Ndlovu. Like...
You're so stupid.
All I'm saying, it's true. It's happening. And I think those things we must attack them. We must approach them and have a conversation with them, not based on skin color. I guess that's why that's my point.
A principle is a principle. Let's apply the principle uniform.
The fact that she went through the whole panel of Miss South Africa with the Chinese contestant, whom I don't know whether she's Chinese or Japanese. Forgive me. I know as black people, Asian, anything Chinese. I'm Vietnamese. It's the same.
Or we see anyone of Asian descent, he's Indian.
Yeah. So I think we should just need to approach it the same.
Sure.
Those who are criminal and illegal must be dealt with
Sure.
as they should. But we can't just have it all over the place now
Sure.
and say, you are not South African, you are South African. Because we are lying to ourselves. We once had in-laws that were Mozambican as a country, and it was relaxed. Yeah. Now it's like, oh my God.
Your minister Mackenzie says he's going to bring F1 to South Africa. What are your views on our new?
Can they
minister?
start with artists? Like,
Yeah.
hello.
Yeah.
Can we start? Why are you creating stuff that is not there? Okay, if it's needed, there are people who do racing.
No,
I don't
we
know.
can do F1. He wants to do
We can.
spinning.
We don't have to do that. All I'm saying is do that while start fixing with what needs to be fixed.
Sure.
Because I feel in South Africa, the major thing is that our industry is not regulated.
Sure.
Like, if you want to give us change, start there, and then you can. I mean, there's a lot. It's good that there's going to be spinning. I don't even know how people spin. Is it like you're racing? What's the difference?
No, there's racing, and then there's spinning where you are doing donuts.
Yes.
In your gusheshe.
I know those ones.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's spinning.
I know. Biggs once invited me on that thing. I was
That's
like, yo,
the thing, yeah.
And pop-ups, I know they love that thing.
Absolutely.
So which one he wants to bring in? The spinning.
No, he mentioned spinning, remember, after he was appointed minister.
Yeah,
And now, earlier in the week, he says that he vows to bring Formula One back to Kyalami.
If it's going to bring money and it's going to make business and it's going to give people jobs, why not? But as an industry, can he also fix
Absolutely.
the whole regulation?
No, his hands are full.
It doesn't make any sense.
He's got a lot of work to do.
I don't know, eh? Sometimes I wish we could have. It's like with health and with art, it might help to have someone at least. I don't know his background.
What with experience?
Some things interest, if not, you know what I mean. But I think the criteria of political.
I trust him. I think he's a doer. I think he's a doer.
I'm not saying I don't trust him as well.
And
but
I think he'll get shit done. I think we need to just give him a moment to breathe. Because he just arrived.
Hey, but he's trading every day. That's one thing.
Because he's saying the right thing.
I think also we cannot ignore that he's got such a personality. I feel like
yeah.
whenever he says anything, everyone else.
Absolutely.
And we've never heard anyone like him.
He could tell us, I'm going to the toilet.
Yeah.
People want to say, he's going to the toilet, guys.
I'm hoping. I'm positive about him. I hope he will do something.
Absolutely.
And it will be such a great change.
How do we support Celeste and the Big Jews?
Oh, Celeste and the Big Jews. I like how you say it.
I'm black, sorry.
So you support me by going to Competicket and buying tickets.
Sure.
The one show is in Durban on the 11th of August.
Okay.
And I'm partnering with Do Conflict because I was like, I need a proper ICC. It's like 5,000 seats. So I needed a lot of people to assist me with the show. And then, just get the ticket at Competicket. The show is going to be amazing. There's Kumba.
So it's Durban when?
Durban is on the 11th of August. I know it's on a Sunday. Don't worry, Durban people. It's going to finish on time for you to go to work.
And then other shows?
Another show is on the 17th of August in Johannesburg, Emperor's Palace. Cape Town, it's December. I couldn't. The GNU was delaying me. So Cape Town is going to be December on the 7th.
Okay, but there's still tickets. People must get tickets.
Yes, there's still tickets. I think Joburg, we are left with maybe like 1,000 or something. People must be this rush.
Guys, by Sunday, please let's buy all of that.
Yes,
1,000.
please buy them tickets. Give me a sold out.
Absolutely.
Why not? And I'm going to have a nice feature there. I know it's guys. I want to say the way I'm like.
So basically, there's a lineup, but you're not done.
There's a lineup of comedy, but there's extra music.
But you're not done.
Oh Lord, beautiful music, beautiful music.
Celeste, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I've watched you grow, evolve, become even more confident. I mean, when I first interviewed you in 2013, I think it was for 100%.
I was freaking out. I was like, oh, wow, I've arrived.
I could tell that this one is very nervous. This one. It was for, I think, 100% Zulu comedy.
Yeah.
I think that was the show you were doing.
I have
11
arrived.
years
I was
ago.
like, no, I don't think you understand how even you yourself, being on your show, you tell everyone, like, I'm doing fresh. Like the guys were asking, hey, Celeste, can't you push the show? I said, relax, I'm going to fresh.
Let me go first. So yeah, man. Like I said, I needed to have you here just to big you up
Thank
on
you, man.
Celeste and the Big Jews. I think it's an incredible idea, show, and we will definitely be there to support it.
Yay, please do. I have the best vocalist in the country and the 5-piece band. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yo.
It's amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Celeste Ntuli is about to leave the building. Please get tickets. Celeste and the Big Dudes happening in Johannesburg and in Durban. Tickets are still available.
Yep.
Celeste, I love you. I
love
respect
you too.
you.
Nice
and-
name, Polish.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you like it.
I like the blue. It's cute.
Oh, this is African Bank Blue, actually, by the way.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was doing an African Bank fashion show.
I did the advert thing and a voice over there. I'm the one with the, you know that ad they
How
have?
at least African Bank
That's my voice
they're giving
over.
all of us gigs, Mus.
Yeah, oh, yo.
Yo.
We are African.
Ladies and gentlemen, Celeste Ntuli is about to leave the building.
Wow, What a Week presents Fresh Money. Proudly brought to you by African Bank.
Audacity to believe.
Eloïse Boezak, welcome to Wow, What a Week. # Fresh Money with African Bank.
Thank you so much. Such a delight to be here today.
Now, I couldn't help but notice your surname. Your surname is Boezak, but there's a Z, like Boezak.
Correct.
Is there a difference between the Boezaks and the Boezaks?
There actually is none. It's a very interesting story. The family I married into are all from one particular very big family, 13 children, all born in the Northern Cape in Carnarvon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But during apartheid, a group of the siblings moved to Cape Town. And when they arrived in Cape Town, obviously during apartheid times, they had to register. And the people registering them decided the Z was too fancy
Oh, wow.
and changed it to S.
Just like that.
Just like that. So on their passbooks was an S instead of Z. So it's all the same family, but you know the group that initially moved to Cape Town are now S's and the rest of us are Z.
Wow, okay. Now, you've got, 24 years plus
Yes.
marketing experience?
Correct.
How did that end you up at African Bank?
I've been very blessed in my career to do lots of really exciting things, work in different industries,
Yeah.
and work across the full spectrum of marketing communications. I love challenges, and the universe keeps bringing me those. So whether that's moving to a different corporation or a different part of a business, I have been privileged to work across the spectrum. And when I had left formal corporate work, I was doing consulting. I went to meet the then CEO of African Bank, Basani Moleke, and I was really coming to consult. And she said, I have a real problem with customer experience.
Yeah.
Thought, okay, that's new, let's do that. And that's how I ended up in African Bank. I was coming to do marketing consulting, ended up doing customer experience, which was a really powerful additional skill set that has helped me a great deal now that I'm back in, more traditional marketing.
Now, with the experience you have, tell us what it takes then to take complex banking concepts or terms and simplifying it for someone like me I just want a bank account.
I think the most important thing is to understand who you're talking to.
Yeah.
So you really have to be respectful of why somebody would engage with you.
Sure.
Understand what they are needing from that interaction with you and be able to create either a solution or a means of connecting with them in a way that resonates, be it in their particular language, at their particular understanding level, but also in a way that makes them feel comfortable.
Sure.
There are some industries that are very intimidating. Banking is one of them. People feel
Absolutely.
it's complex, it's regulated. You've got to figure out a way to make people feel that they're comfortable and that they can trust you.
And also, I might not be formally educated, but still respect me when you talk to me.
Absolutely. And many people who are not formally educated have great insights in how to manage money.
Yes.
Because when you have very little, you learn how to be creative
Yeah.
about how you manage money. So we know that a lot of our customers have really interesting ideas of how to save, of how to work well. I mean, we see that in the culture of Stokvel.
Sure.
Stokvels have really come out of a need for groups of people to enhance what little they have and make it more. And Africa is an extraordinary continent.
Sure.
I mean, moving money, the concept of moving money is the most sophisticated in Africa than anywhere else in the world. You will go to Europe and they are shocked that you can move money by, by geolocation.
Yes.
And now by PayShap, where that money will be available immediately in your account. They don't have that construct. The US, they can't even do EFTs. So what Africa needs to really understand that a lot of our people are resilient and creative problem solvers. And if we engage with people at their level, we can learn a lot and grow how we engage with them by just listening to our customers.
In fact, under your watch, African Bank has become even more customer-centric, if you will. What are some of the strategies that you've had to implement and employ to get to where you are?
So I think...
In fact, I could boldly say you have taken African Bank to what it was back in the day.
Thank you. That's a lovely compliment. We've been very intentional about being customer driven. So we spent a lot of time with customers, as also understanding the socioeconomic conditions they live in and what they need to thrive. And in doing that, we have also embraced the concept of being African, that African hospitality, making people feel comfortable. If you call our contact center, it doesn't matter what language you speak, we will accommodate that. And that is a powerful message to people to say that you are someone here, you are vital here, and we respect you.
You're not just an account number.
No, I mean, we're not interested in just your business as an individual. We want to know you as a human.
Absolutely.
And I think what so many other environments don't get is that when you create that sense of connection, you will grow your business exponentially. And so we were intentional about being very customer-centric, and we continue to be so.
One thing I've also noticed, because Khosi Nkosi, whom you guys have collaborated with in the African Bank collection, and we call it a collection because it's not uniform.
No, it's not uniform. It's a collection.
It's a collaborative collection.
Correct.
By African Bank and Khosi Nkosi. But what I've appreciated is how your staff have been part of this journey. Why was it important to keep the staff abreast of everything and to have them feel like we are a part of this? Because fundamentally, a business rises and falls on their frontline people. And particularly in the case of banking, our frontline people carry us on their backs, right? And so it was a fantastic opportunity to really celebrate, giving them a sense of empowered dignity by dressing them in a way that was surprising and delightful, that catered to different shapes and sizes, and allowed them to also select what suits their style. And that's why it's a collection, so that anybody can find things within that range that will suit them. And so they feel like we have listened, that we have heard them, and that in the way that then they express themselves when they wear those clothes, they are still individuals as part of this organization. That's why we say it's unified, not uniform. Absolutely. Like, you look amazing. This is all. Thank you very much. Khosi Nkosi. Indeed. Why did you go with her? Why did you go with her? You know, we had 9. Well, when we started out, we decided to be very intentional. We wanted to do black designers, and we had 9 pitch. Khosi Nkosi came in with intent. They were the last ones to pitch, and they came in, I will never forget, with a volume of clothing. They were there to give us a sense of the range and why it was powerful. But their brand is about audacity. They have struggled. They have worked in retail. They have understood what it takes to come into an environment and really put yourself on the line through adversity. And when they presented, they matched their story so beautifully to the African Bank story that it was a no-brainer in the end. In fact, when I went to her factory, I was like, wow, you have a factory. I'm blown away. I was telling her that it's quite something that your tagline is audacity to believe, and her story is precisely that. Correct. There was such immense synergy. I mean, I don't know if they'll love me telling the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Tell the story. Let's go. So after they got the account, we sat down one day and they explained to us how they had gotten a DM on Instagram to participate in the tender. It was a 2-week turnaround, and they knew they wanted to do knitwear. But in order to do the knitwear, it was quite expensive, and they didn't have the capital at that time.
So what they did in order to have capital to get knitwear done in that time period is they sold one of their cars.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They really had such self-belief. It's a really audacious thing to do, to even pitch it.
Sure.
And it obviously paid off, right? They said they fasted and prayed they hadn't eaten for 3 days. Coming into that pitch, it was audacity to believe at its highest level. And without us even knowing that, that's how committed they were to this.
Sure.
And I'm so delighted that every single interaction reaffirms our decision that they're the right partner.
The big question now, because I wore one of your golf shirts last week.
Yes.
And now my DMs are crawling with, where do I get that golf shirt? Where do people get your collection?
So I think we obviously were focused on staff, right?
Yes.
Because that's where it started, but we knew we had something magical here.
Sure.
So now we have launched the actual staff collection to media, etc.
Yeah.
We are scrambling because the demand was certainly much bigger than we thought it would be. We are hoping that by the beginning of, in a couple of weeks, we can come with some limited items, particularly the golf shirt we know is something that
Golf shirt is going to sell out. I'm warning you now. It's going to sell out.
We're aware, and I know Khosi, particularly Tabo, has many ideas of how to play it out. He wore a really stunning bomber jacket version of it yesterday.
Oh, wow. So now there's a bomber jacket.
Correct.
We're in trouble.
And then there are, of course, a number of other items. So we know that we will bring it faster than we thought we would, but we are hoping that by September, the range will be available for consumers, the entire range.
Cannot wait.
Me too. To be honest, me too.
Now, just quickly, before we let you go, because yes, you know, you're looking amazing in Khosi's stuff, but you're also a bank.
Correct.
And I think one thing we need to do, especially within our Black communities, is inculcate, especially in our kids, the importance of savings and investments. Can we just touch on that quickly?
Absolutely.
Before
You know,
we
it
let you
is
go?
Savings Month, and it is a key aspect of the strength of African Bank is savings and investment.
Sure.
We have the best rates. We have a number of products that allow you from the time you open your account, even if it's just lazy saving and putting your money in the savings pocket, which we offer for free at an amazing rate. We are focused and intentional about creating options for people all the way from a savings pocket to Stockfell to various other products that will allow you to grow money. Even if you have massive money and you want to put it away, our 60-month fixed deposit is the best in the market, 12.8%. But most importantly, it's an attitude of understanding that what you are investing in is your future. And that future may be in 3 months.
Absolutely.
That future may be in a year or 10 years. But African Bank not only will give you those solutions up front, but will support you through that journey.
Why is it, do you think, that we struggle to save?
I think a lot of people feel that they are really living hand to mouth, right? That there's very little that they have as extra.
There's no choice, basically.
And they have no options. But I think part of what we need to do intentionally is say 50 Rand. Just 50 Rand in your savings pocket.
Start.
50 Rand.
Yeah.
And in a couple of months, that's 300 Rand, and that can go in a 7-day account.
Absolutely.
And help people through that journey, and then show them the reality of what it means to have delayed gratification. You don't have to have it now.
Absolutely. But it will be worth it later.
You can buy more later.
Yes, absolutely. Just looking at, like you said, you've married into a big family.
Yes.
And when you have a big family, savings is very important.
Yes, indeed.
Being penny wise is very important. What would you say is your biggest savings tip that you've learned in your, whether from when you were a little girl or when you got married or when you started working? The one savings tip that you've never forgotten.
The one savings tip my dad has always said to us when we were little, he said, whatever you are given with no commitment, half it and put it away.
Yeah.
So if you're given pocket money, half it and put it away.
Yeah.
If you have been ever given a gift, half it and put it away.
Wow.
Anything that is unexpected or extra, halve it.
And put it
And
away.
it's always stayed with me, that mantra of halve it.
Yes.
So if you have a bonus, if you have something that is a bit of a windfall, halve it and put it away. And put it away cleverly,
It's weird. My dad had the flip side of that.
right?
That whatever the bank allows you to spend half of that.
Ah,
Yes.
so from a credit perspective,
So if you're going to buy a car and the bank says you can spend $1 million, we'll give you $1 million, he'd always tell me, then spend $500,000.
That's very clever.
Because there's other costs that we don't look at when
Always.
we're buying a car.
Correct.
When you're buying a house.
Yes.
And the rule of buying a house is after 2 years, everything breaks.
amen and amen again. And then after like 5, yet again.
Yes, another geyser has burst. So whatever you're allowed, take half. That's what I was raised on.
And that's a very clever thing. I think a lot of people don't understand how they can reach a point where a bank will allow them to actually engage because
Yes.
they don't look after their credit score
Yeah.
and understand how to build it and use credit cleverly. So that's a
Absolutely.
really important skill that we continue to drive
Yes.
within the bank because credit can be powerful if you use it in that way,
Absolutely.
as opposed to go and flash the cash on that credit card. It's a very clever tip. I love that.
Eloise, we are out of time, but we want to just say thank you to you, the bank, your staff, Khosi Nkosi and her crew for not only making banking fashionable, but for bringing Ubuntu back to banking.
Thank you.
I think it's very, very critical, especially for people who I could put my money under a mattress, but I'm bringing it to you. I'm trusting you with my money.
Correct. So we remain really honored that our customers trust us.
Yes.
And we continue to strive to surprise and delight and embrace being truly African.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eloïse Boezak, Head of Marketing, Personal Banking.
This is
What a week.
What a week. This kid really kicks.
Our next guest is the true definition of the word multi-talented. Her journey to stardom was seemingly written in the stars, and it was clear that she was destined for stardom from a very young age. She credits her family and friends as having played a significant role in shaping her career. As an award-winning actress, you may have been introduced to her recently as Ndoni Tembe, the deeply troubled, butt-kicking private security guard in the Showmax drama Mpini, or as Zimkita in the hit drama romance movie Happiness Ever After. You may also know her from Queen Bee, Beyoncé's futuristic visual album, Black is King. Should I carry on? I will carry on. I also feel like I need to watch my words and behave to avoid possibly having my ass kicked, because she's also a Muay Thai fighter, which makes her a savage beauty. Please give a warm welcome to Nambitha Ben-Mazwi.
Okay, copywriter, who did that? That was amazing.
You
Thank
savage
you.
beauty, you.
Kick ass, because she's a savage beauty. I'm taking that. I'm rolling with
You
it.
can have it, dog.
I can go some dust. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited to be here, man. Finally.
I'm allowed to call you Nampo.
No, Nako. Yeah, one
is
is
it
no, like I
Nako?
Google as
Is it
niggas-
Nako?
Nako, yes.
And how did we get
Who
to Nako?
told you that? Guys, your research team, where they at? I'm like, where's the producer? But yes, it's Nako. Yo,
And how did we get to Nako?
you know what? At home,
Yeah.
family nicknames.
Sure.
I still don't know Ivelaphi. Like it literally was just, I was born, there was Nam, but I was Nako
Sure.
since a young child. I don't know where it originates from.
In fact, your family had a get-together a couple of weeks ago. And,
Yes.
And the thing is, I'm big on family. So,
Yes,
for
me
instance,
too.
we were unveiling my great-aunt's tombstone this past weekend.
Yes, I remember you
And
told
it's always incredible just when you see people have grown up, people have a beard all of a sudden, you're like, oh, flip. This is my baby cousin
Yeah.
who's now telling me, meet my fiance.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the meeting you guys had just the other day.
So that was Uvula Gwendlu, my brother's one, which If it's my siblings, it's ours. 'Cause
Okay, so it's
we
a
are like
housewarming.
that. Yes,
Okay.
so it was a traditional housewarming. I actually later found out that it's more of a Xhosa thing, because
Okay.
a lot of, other tribes, unless you can educate me, maybe if you guys do it, but for us it's quite,
Sure,
you know
sure.
what I mean? So it's just really getting the kraal identified in your household so that all the other ancestral, works that you're going to have,
Yeah.
you can now host them.
Sure.
So it's just also for your ancestors to know
We're
where
here.
you live.
We're
We are
here.
here. Sisile,
Sure.
and here is the ancestral kraal, and we've identified it. So, we're very close as a family. So if it's like my brother's wedding, it was also ours. Like
Sure.
even my dad was like, to my sister and I, if you guys mess this one up, it's on you. You know what I mean?
yes,
like,
yes.
So it was my brother's, but again, it was ngumsebenzi wasekhaya, So we have an organizing committee which consists of my sister and I and my brother and our parents. And yeah, that was the get together, I guess.
Now, you've had quite a journey, and I'm asking, in fact, I'm mentioning this because I want to see if family changes and how they relate to you. From student to varsity chick, to corporate chick, to actress, to public figure. Do they change how they treat you as you evolve?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Not at all. I think for me, that's why it's so important to be so grounded with my family relations and my day ones. Like,
Sure.
I'm strict. I do new friends, but, I keep my day ones. I still have the same friends since I was 3 years old. You know what I
wow.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm that type of person. So for me, my family understands what I do, but I've never changed. So why would they treat me differently, So that's my firm grounding, is that I've not changed as a person.
So there's an uncle who thinks now I'm going to score even more money.
Hey, you always have those danglies. But Lady Nam, when my family starts calling me Lady Nam, I'm like, since when now? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, let's. And they also tease me with it. And they're
Sure.
like, yeah, but it's all coming from a place of love. They're like, no, we're just proud of you,
And I like, whenever we go home to the village,
Yeah.
Because I know my relatives,
Yes.
and I also know which ones are maybe worthy of a 200 buck note.
Got you.
I literally put 50s in my left pocket, 100s in my right.
Oh, no, you got a whole strategy
And
for
200s at the back.
Wow.
So depending on which relative says I need cigarettes or I need to buy this, I know which pocket to reach into.
We are perpetual when you go home.
Exactly.
Standard, yeah.
So maybe look at doing that. Rock dresses with pockets.
Can you just not give them ideas? They're going to listen to this. We don't need that, okay?
Yeah.
I want my December to be okay and relaxed and chilled. So, yeah.
Girls' school.
Yes.
That's where you started in East London.
No.
Port Elizabeth.
Kabeja.
In Port Elizabeth, GQ.
Yes,
Would you send your daughter to a girls' school?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And my son to a boys' school. You know what? For me, what's important is it teaches young girls to be extremely furnished in just etiquette.
Sure.
Right? Discipline. Even my posture, like I still have like certain things that I think of the old collegiate girls, what they taught me.
Oh, yes.
You stand back for people who are grades higher than you. You do this, like it's just the etiquette and the courtesy and the sense of discipline and manners and respect is so entrenched. Obviously, grooming is at the forefront of it all. But also, you're not distracted by boys in the classroom. So there's a healthy competition of just grades.
It's us.
Yes, you know what I mean? It's not cool to flunk
Sure.
a subject.
Yes.
It's cool to get straight A's.
Absolutely.
And, there's also a sense of tradition that all girls schools and all boys schools instill, and that I really still enjoy, So obviously there's the downside of it. But fortunately for me, I was exposed to boys, I think from, preschool up until grade 4. So they weren't foreign to me. And I could see that, okay, as soon as I entered the girls' school in grade 5, my classmates were a bit like boy crazy. Hey, it's like, okay, guys, but like, it's just a dude. What's happening?
Yeah,
Why is everyone
yeah,
screaming
yeah,
and just
yeah.
look out the window because the grey boys are outside?
I remember when I was starting my breakfast show at 5FM, we did I literally went to every city
Yeah.
just to introduce the breakfast show.
Yes.
So we were on the street, we were going to schools, we went to your alma mater.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're right. The minute a guy is at a girls' school,
yeah.
I've never heard screaming like that in my entire life.
Yeah. It's a bit disturbing, right?
It's I'm still deaf from it.
You see,
My
so-
ear's still ringing.
But I'm sure you felt amazing, though. You were like, oh, yeah, it's screaming for me. Let's go.
But it's also children, so you contextualize it.
Okay, yes,
you
in
know what
that
I mean?
sense. Yes, obviously. Yeah.
So when you look at how you relate to boys, or when you
Yeah.
started relating to boys,
Yeah.
did you ever look back and say, maybe I shouldn't have gone to girls' school? Or was it all butter throughout?
No, so as I mentioned, I
Yeah.
did get exposed in a co-ed. I went to a private Christian school before, and until grade 4. So I did have, and that's what I would do with my daughter as well.
Oh, yes.
Make sure in preschool, when you're relating to other people and you're now starting to share and play and have social skills, put them in co-ed.
Oh, yes.
In like from maybe primary school, like let's say grade 5 or grade 6, when things are starting to get grade serious, I would say all girls school. So no, I do believe you need to expose kids. I was exposed to co-ed, you know. I don't know if I would have turned out differently.
Girl bullying can be nasty, though. Did you have to deal with girl bullying?
Funny enough, the
collegiate.
bullying I did experience was estratweni in the hood.
Sure.
You know, and I speak so openly about this because it's something that I'm so cognizant of. It's part of my mandate as well. Like I'm a proud advocate of dark skin magic. You know what I mean? And I was bullied estratweni when I'd go home, like in the streets where you're now playing, you know, with everyone else. It was about my complexion.
And you're not even that dark.
Not at school.
You're not even that dark.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being that dark. I wish I was darker.
No,
You
but
know
what I'm
I mean?
saying, though, is your level, your complexion, I don't think is at a level where, like, why would you bully someone that doesn't...
I
know what
get
mean?
you. It's not far off.
I think you're in between, like light-skinned and dark-skinned.
Okay.
But anyway,
well,
carry on, you were saying.
Yeah, so the bullying actually wasn't stemmed. I don't really remember being bullied when I was in the all-girls school. In fact, I felt more of a sense of belonging
Sure.
than anything else, you know. I felt even more free, you know, as far as just choices of what I wanted to involve myself in extramural activities. You know, the friendships, yes, there were cliques, but cliques happen everywhere. But I'm also just that bubbly young girl who just fits in everywhere. I'm friends with like the nerds. I'm friends with the cool kids. I'm friends with like the goths. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
so nah.
You're around the way, girl. Absolutely. So you go to Cape Town and you become this kick-ass, I want to kick ass in business, in corporate kind of woman.
Yeah.
Why should everyone go into corporate before becoming an actor?
I wouldn't say they have to go into corporate.
But what are the benefits?
But they definitely need to have some business skills.
Yeah.
And again, something I advocate for. I did a business of the arts workshop for She Speaks. And this
Sure.
is something where I'm like, this is a lack with artists. We do not treat ourselves as a business first. Right? And you can see that education is lacking in just how strategic you also navigate your career, and how you assess the market. So I'm so grateful I did that. I've got my honors in business science. So for me, I didn't consider being an actress. This was something that came and bit me. You know, for me, my life was already panned out.
What was that moment where you felt that bite?
Yo, I'm going to say like the most typical answer. It's a calling. When you have a calling, you can ignore it as long as possible.
Okay.
But it will force you to respond to it. Right? So I think for me, it was when, after I studied at UCT, I finished my honors. I went into this global software company called Meltwater Group. And I was catalyzed by a friend who's like, she's my best friend. She was leaving HP. She's like, I'm going to go to Firenze in Italy and go to the design school there because she wanted to go to Pratt.
Sure.
And out of nowhere in that call, she says, Nam, I know where your heart lies.
Sure.
You're damn good at it. Go for it. I'm like, hey, Utini now, you know? And that catalyzed something that I had already known.
Sure.
It was for me circumstantial because once I got into corporate, I no longer had time to do what I loved.
Oh, yes.
And for me, the arts was always a hobby. From school, it was musicals. At UCT, it was UCT radio, emceeing the World Cup. So I was always just doing these things, these gigs on the side.
Yes.
And it was a hobby. And I knew it's not something to take seriously as a career.
But you kick ass at it because you're a perfectionist, though.
that is true.
Yeah.
You know, so it was then when I realized that something is lacking in my life.
Sure.
And as much as I'd be in the office until the wee hours of the morning at times, just trying to close deals and, you know, do what I needed to do, I no longer had time to have a radio show on the side or go do this casting or,
yes.
you know what I mean? And that's when I realized, no, man, I'm not going to change the world by sitting on this desk.
What do you miss about radio? Just looking at your short stint on the radio.
It was so short, so I wouldn't even say it was long enough to, you know, have something substantial. But I was thinking about this now on my way here and just reflecting on obviously doing this podcast with you. I miss the freedom in just storytelling through your voice.
Yes.
That vocation is an art of itself.
Unscripted storytelling.
Yes, you can just do you.
Yeah.
And then depending on your co-host, it's also just that chemistry you guys also need to rely on, because you have listeners who can't see anything, but they're like, that sounds fun.
You guys
I
call
wanna
it.
hang out.
You guys call it improv.
Yeah, it's improv. It's improv, but it's hanging out.
Absolutely.
It's hanging out, and it's just being you, but also being aware that you need to captivate an audience with your voice through storytelling, through the chemistry you guys have, while still keeping them on the edge of their seat.
Sure.
You know, I respect radio jockeys.
Now, generally, in most arts industries, those that have been there for a while might look down on those that come in through a back door or unconventionally. Like, for instance, you come in from corporate, for instance. There are other people who are acting, but they're not necessarily from theater. Or they haven't gone to art school or theater school or you know,
So
whatever
deep
it
back
is.
dog, I'm like, where would you place me?
May I finish the question first?
And
I'll be very careful how I answer that. But did you ever feel a need to prove that I mean business here? I might come from corporate, but I mean business and I respect the space I'm in. Did you ever feel you needed to do that?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I think that shows my professionalism.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, I was told that I took it very seriously, too seriously, as compared to my counterparts, where it was just fun vibes. It was, hey, let me see who I can hook up with and do this and do that. And I was just like, okay, because I already came with that insecurity of I didn't study this.
Oh, yes.
I was cognizant of that insecurity, right? So I worked 10 times harder. I looked at it with such an analytical, strategic point of view because that's how my brain was trained.
Okay, so the business scientist showed up.
It showed up. I had notes. I had done this. I had analyzed this, that. So they were even just like, whoa, you're coming with a different situation altogether.
Sure.
Now we need to straighten up. You know what I mean? So I was overcompensating on that regard. But it's also not to say I didn't have the level of training. I did. My background was in theater, you know. And for me, it was now trying to understand the art of film and television.
Yeah.
So I learned on the job. I learned through auditions. I would really treat auditions as opportunities to hear what the casting director is doing.
Oh, yes.
And that for me was elements for me to grow. So no, I wouldn't say I didn't feel that. And I wasn't treated that way. If anything, they felt a bit of an intimidation with how I approached it.
Oh, yes, because you were here for business.
Exactly.
This is not a sketch.
No. I left a really comfortable paycheck.
I'm sure you did.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
Sure you did.
So I had to, and my parents are like, why would you, after 5 years of doing, you know, your biz sci? So I had a lot more to prove. I had to make it work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you get your first role. And you wake up on the day we're going to shoot. What's going through your mind? Are you praying? Do you have things, mantras you say to yourself? Do you have people you talk to? Do you have lucky underwear? Like, what was that first day for your first role like for you?
I remember it was actually Traffic season 2 with Bonnie.
Yeah.
Bonnie Hena, Bonnie Mbudli.
Sure.
And I absolutely adore that young lady. I was in Cape Town, and this was me really just putting like a toe in because I was still in corporate, but I was actually heading up the digital marketing department. I was starting the department at Hot FM.
Sure.
And I'd just come back from my stint in New York. So this was me now saying, okay, I've made this promise to myself to enter the media market, but I'm still kind of corporate because I'm not working in front of, you know. And I thought, okay, I have an opportunity to do both because I had more time on my hands. I was excited. I was nervous. I always pray. It's still something I do till this day with my quiet time. I had, again, done everything that I had known from drama and, you know, theater work where I analyze the character, I do this, the notes, you name it. Like I came in with a file and like, you know what I mean? And it was such a small featured role, but it was me just being, this is how I prepare. But it was nerve-wracking. I obviously still needed to know what the set etiquette is like. I was conscious of also not being a theater actor in front of television, subduing performance.
Just keep it here.
Yes, you know, performing through the eyes. Yeah. So I had and I'm grateful because the cast was so welcoming.
Sure.
Bonnie was the lead and she's so dope. So I'm glad that it was such a safe environment where I wasn't dealing with, you know, really mean people, you know.
And egos.
Yeah, and egos. And people were just really welcoming and, you know, there were familiar faces that I knew. And I think also it being in Cape Town helped.
You were home.
Yeah, it was just a more relaxed environment.
But you know what it is also about you? You have I'm looking for the right word. You have a presence about you.
Okay.
But you also have a calmness about you.
Okay.
But you also have I know why I'm here about you. And I think all of that is probably one of the reasons why it might have been that relaxed on the set.
Got you.
Because she's not taking chances. She looks like she's serious. She looks like she knows what the hell she's doing. And often you can tell when people are taking chances. It doesn't take long.
You can smell it.
It doesn't take long to smell their fear or to smell that they feel like they might be found out on this gig.
Yeah.
But you have none of that.
No.
You have none of that. You there's a regalness about you also.
Thank you.
Don't worry, I'll stop throwing compliments at you on stage.
That's fascinating that you've been able to pick that up. You're honestly spot on.
No, but like I said, I've been watching you grow. And that's the one thread I've picked up in your career, that you bring all of that. Even the different characters you play, you're convincing because you are serious about what you do, and it all comes across.
Thank you.
How's my analysis 101?
Yeah, I'm blown away. I'm just like, yo, like, have you been hanging out with me? Like,
I'm not saying I'm a stalker, but I've been watching you.
No, you know what? It's actually quite affirming for me. I needed to hear this because it's saying that I've been consistent.
Sure.
It's saying that I am centered. It's saying that I'm forever in alignment.
Sure.
And I'm forever staying true to myself. And those things are critically important for me. So thank you.
No, pleasure.
Thank you.
So you, like you're saying, you're a praying woman. You went to a Christian school. You are born again, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How does all of that determine the roles that you choose for yourself?
I pray about my roles.
Yeah.
So as much as there's strategicness, I believe in the power of saying no thank you. You know, which is hard at times because we're independent contractors.
Sure.
You know, but if my why is stronger, my vision is stronger, my strategy is stronger. So if I'm finding that there's no purpose in this role,
Sure.
and I know my personality. I know if I pick up a script and I'm already rolling my eyes and I'm uninspired, that's a dangerous place I don't ever want to be in, because that's going to drop my level of wanting to come to work,
Sure.
showing
You're
up.
settling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't ever, it's such a dangerous place to be in when you're no longer inspired. I don't want to ever get comfortable.
Sure.
So if I'm not always challenged or growing or just like I need to, the moment I feel a purpose in a role and I realize that this is bigger than me and I'm just a vessel and I'm using this as a servant, I have this gift, I treat it responsibly, I know that it's going to change people's lives, that's when I'm able to really give an honest performance. Because if I'm not able to translate to who is watching,
Sure.
and those DMs of saying you healed me through this and people opening up things that, you know, that I've touched on, what am I doing then? You know? Yeah.
Do you ever look back at roles you turned down and deep down inside wish maybe you hadn't?
No.
And do we know any of them?
I have disappointments,
Yeah.
but I don't.
As in a role you didn't get?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Like, we're in the industry of rejection.
Absolutely.
And you gotta always get up.
In fact,
every time.
most of your career is rejection.
Yes.
And people never actually
No,
fully
they see the
appreciate that.
glory.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, you always booked in business at home, does say, hey. I'm still mourning King Shaka. That was just, you know, that was like a whole year and a bit. I had a 6-month auditioning process.
Sure.
The last callback, they said the test shoot, they fly me out to LA, I meet the execs, like, you're this close to a breakthrough. You sign a 7-year exclusivity contract, you're like, this is the game changer.
Yes.
You negotiate as if you have it, you start shooting, these things happen, 9 months of a project, and then CBS and Showtime say it's cancelled.
Imagine.
Do you understand? And you've now, this has been like a year and a half of your life.
Yeah.
You had a 6-month auditioning process, then you had a 9-month shooting process. You basically made a baby.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that I'm still mourning. I'm still like holding on to King Shaka will still find a new home.
Why did they cancel it?
So Paramount Pictures and Showtime merged. And during their strategic, I guess, meeting where they now are saying, okay, what shows do you have? What? They dropped quite a few shows. I do believe it's a blessing in disguise. These things do happen for a reason. We'll see what the market decides and who picks it up. But it was just no longer going to align with the current strategy of the partnership, you know. So they dropped quite a few shows. I think it wasn't going to translate with the audience. They have their reasons. I'm not really sitting at Paramount Pictures exec. So that was it. But I don't think there's a role that I have regretted saying no to. Not at all. No.
Let's talk about New York.
Let's talk about New York.
New York lessons.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Yo, New York lessons. Being ruthless.
Why did you go to New York?
So this was part of my Eat, Pray, Love, my journey of...
Find self.
Yes. So when I had, you know, resigned corporate, I had no plan.
Sure.
So I sat down and I was like, okay, so what are we going to do? I knew for me, I wanted to get global experience in corporate. Even when I was at Meltwater, I had already said I would like to be moved, work my way into the New York office. And that's what they were doing. You know, they'd train you up and they'd swap you around, you know. And for me, the reason was New York was the mecca of digital marketing at the time.
Yes.
It still is. And that was for me just that. So it was always earmarked. When I resigned, I was like, okay, let me just go for 2 weeks. And a neighbor who knew about this was like, when are you leaving? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, let me link you up with a friend of mine. You know, he was a television executive there. His name is Ilan Komets. I will never forget him. So he's like, yeah, he used to work, you know, as a television producer, I'm sure with your broadcasting. So I'm like, hey, I'm not going there for that, you know. But he's like, yeah, just meet for coffee. You know, maybe he can link you up to some contacts and whatnot. Had coffee with Ilan. That coffee, as me, the nerd I am, went with like my notebook and a pen, you know.
Yes.
And I remember filling out literally 3 pages of A4 of that notebook of just all these contacts he gave me. And he even said, listen, I thought I was going to just chat to you and give you 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But after meeting you, I really just want you to do this. You know.
It's that energy I was telling you about.
got it.
Yeah.
You know, and he just changed the tone. He said, I want you to get, you know, a local SIM, get a 917 code, call up these people. They might shrug you off, name drop me and say, you're a friend of Ilan Komet. I want a lunch date. Make sure you solidify a lunch date. One of them needs to meet you. After that, you're going to try get in on air, on television. You can do, like, I was like, whoa, I'm coming back on Christmas. He's like, no, buy time. Your visa can buy you 6 months. Then you do this. So he planted the seed. And that's exactly what I did. You know, I got there. I was a tourist for the first few days. I got bored. And then I started cold calling, which is a skill I got from Meltwater, you know, as closing deals. That's what we did.
Sure.
Knew how to sell myself. And I solidified a lunch date with David, who was part of Current TV, which is now Al Jazeera.
Sure.
Landed up on Viewpoint Live as a panelist with John Fungelsang, spoke about the future of SA. Nelson Mandela was ill at the time, so we spoke about that. And on my 10th day there was when I got a gig that would buy me time where I can live off. Yeah. And that was at the Stand Comedy Club as a host.
Oh, wow.
So it was literally through networking, through friends who introduced me to people, and literally just hustling and making my way through. So that was this crazy story.
First things first.
Yes.
Lesson from that meeting with Ilan. What was your biggest takeaway from meeting Ilan? Apart from take a notepad.
Don't close yourself off.
Yeah.
Because if I wasn't open,
Sure.
he wouldn't have been open.
Sure.
And if I had been so set to, no, this is just a 2-week holiday, and not open to, wait, let me call these people.
Sure.
Let me listen to all these other avenues of, let me buy time. Let me do this. I can, you know, pay rent here. I can work here. If I wasn't open,
Sure.
he wouldn't have, you know, given me that boost. So I think always remaining open is definitely a huge lesson that I still take till this day.
And what are you still applying from your New York lessons? Like the vast variety.
Staying true to myself. I actually made that promise to myself. After experiencing that chapter, which was also brutal, which was also hard, which was also extremely like inspirational. It was like a drug. It was just amazing. It was just, man, that city is something else.
I was going to say,
you know?
it was New York.
Man. But like also just, you get a different type of edge when you realize you made it there. You survived. You were able to, you know, really play that game.
Sure.
And it's just, you realize how strong you are as well. You realize aspects of yourself that you never knew you had.
Sure.
But when I came back, I said, I'm going to stay true to myself no matter what. And that's what changed the trajectory of me then saying, I'm going to pursue a career in the arts. Because survival mode, I had to rely on my natural skills and my love for the arts. And I could make it there, and I saw how they received me there. Then I was like, Aike, I see you.
Game over.
Aike.
When was the first time you cried in New York? What are you crying about?
I was homesick.
Yeah.
I was homesick. And I remember I was staying, so when I arrived there, I was staying at my friend's who was hosting me. I'm on 81st and 1st Upper East Side, I'll never forget. Eric Fulwala, we're still very good friends now. He's now moving to, he's an American guy. He's opening an office here in Joburg. And then when I made the decision to like, change my flight and extend it. I then stayed in Financial District in a loft. It was a house share, a loft share, and I remember they were. So
a loft share means what in basic?
So English? We have like it's a loft like this, right? It's an apartment, and everyone has their own different rooms. It's like you have roommates. It's like it's a 3-bedroom.
Okay.
So it's
like a commune-ish.
Yeah, it's roommates. You got
Okay.
New York is expensive. No one.
It's very
afford,
expensive.
Yeah. Everyone has roommates until you get married. You actually get married just to share rent.
In fact, I know people that even live in a boarding house just so that they can stay in New York.
Yeah. No, I believe that. And also the apartments, the lofts in Financial District are really nice. They're spacious. Otherwise, if you stay like Midtown, it's just like you're in a shoebox.
Absolutely.
You know. So very good friend of mine, it was my roommate. And I remember they were like, okay, well, we're going to move, you know, the lease is up. Yo, and I was like, I was on the verge of like homelessness because now I'm subletting, right? I don't have, you know, the right visa to get like a lease under my name.
Sure.
So it was like, what do I do now? And like my friend who I'd been relying on and there with, who literally got told take care of her.
Yeah.
It was that. So I needed, you know, thank God, like the friends I made, they have become family. It was like, no, while you look for a place, like you can stay at my aunt's place, you know, at nice fancy townhouse in Midtown. I was like, how am I getting all of these really great opportunities? Because I knew that when I knew God is in charge,
Sure.
I was meant to be here. Because literally every single time I'm thinking, you know, shit's going to hit the fan, I'm given like a freaking silver platter, you know, of like, no, house at my auntie's, like in the Hamptons, you can have the place yourself. I'm like, hey, this place is gorgeous. And while I was looking for my next stop, and that's when I moved to Brooklyn as well. So I did. I cried and I knew I couldn't go home. I just called my mom and I said, I just need like a little bit more money. I know this is on me, but you know, I know at the end of the day I'm a last born. What is she going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to make a plan. So even though it was hard for me to ask for money, because this is a decision I made and I said I'll make it work, and I got their support, you know, at the end of the day, you know, things did hit the fan and I made that call home. Yeah, that was probably my first time I cried.
When you look at this journey that you've been on, your time in New York, where it feels like things are falling apart, but all of a sudden the good Lord is like, hold my beer. Because I'm a firm believer in often the amount of work you put into anything will carry you until the next thing. And often the next thing is proportionally sized to how much work you put in to the previous thing. I almost believe like you get rewarded for the work you put in.
Absolutely.
Do you look at your career and feel like I'm the poster child for that? That every bit of effort I've put in might have only shown up as a result 5 years later. But I know it's because I did that then that I'm here now.
I wouldn't say I'm the poster child of it. I think that's a big statement to uphold.
Yeah.
But I do see God's hand on my life.
Sure.
It is so evident.
Sure.
But I also know that faith comes with action, right? It's not passive.
You can't pray and just wait.
You know, and one thing I do is that I have judged myself as of late, where I'm like, girl, what happened to that feisty one who would just go get her and not listen to someone to, you know, say, no, it's not the right time now. I never listened to that.
Have you become measured lately?
Listen.
What's going on?
I don't know. I just had like a self-reflective moment the other day.
Could the real Nambitha please stand up? What's going on
I
here?
did. I spoke to myself. I'm like, nah, since when? You know, now it's time to take your future in your own hands. You know, it's going to be on your terms.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I've done that. I think I'm more cognizant of, I'm at peace when things don't work out because I know it's for a reason. And that reason is going to come on later.
Sure.
So I just have a bit more peace. I'm not necessarily now like forcing things. I rather let things happen.
Absolutely.
And that just comes with wisdom. You know, if you make the wrong choices and it's not from God, that's when things they become problematic and there's no peace in it anymore. And I've seen that. You know, but yeah, I've seen that what I've sowed, I reap later. Absolutely.
Let's talk about Linda Bengu.
Yeah.
You are one of the reasons I started watching Savage Beauty.
I love it.
And you kick ass, dude. Like you kick a lot of ass. But I think for me, Savage Beauty is bigger than just what the storyline is, because especially African women, it's almost like you guys are held to a different standard.
Absolutely.
There are things that, for instance, your white counterparts can get away with, but when as a black woman, it's like, why is she doing that? Or who does she think she is? It's like, why would she do that?
The audacity
to show her belly button. It gets that petty. that why are we seeing your belly button? You're 40. I was like, at what age should I hide my belly button?
Yeah.
How have you had to deal with those double standards as an actress, as a black woman, and also as a woman who was in corporate? Because that shit follows you everywhere.
What have you noticed?
About you?
Yeah, in the sense that you've watched Savage, you've obviously seen that there's a standard for black women and African women.
Yeah.
What have you noticed? I want to know where that stems from before I answer it.
Just in terms of what I see people commenting on social media, especially on social media, where you guys can't even break a smile if you've lost a partner. It's like, why is she smiling? Her husband died last week. It's like you guys are under a microscope all the time.
So look, there's the truthful answer and then there's the vulnerable answer.
Yeah.
Right? The truthful answer is you can't listen to the noise.
Yeah.
And we remind ourselves that, and we're very close with that cast.
Sure.
Like, we are a bit codependent. It's actually unhealthy. Like, I'm that person. Get team building, guys. Whenever you know. And our Duke, I call him the Duke, Udon,
Sure.
Udumisani, is always like giving us pep talks before it comes out because we're all nervous. We're all like, I hate not being in control. So for season 1, we got to watch it before it came out. Now we watched it with everyone. So I literally was like, I'm not going to be on social media. I'm going to switch that off because you're watching this for the first time. You don't know what made it on. You don't know it's been a year later. So you need to come to terms with yourself. You also are criticizing yourself. I need to watch a show at least twice or 3 times to enjoy it. The first time, I'm criticizing. The second time, I'm enjoying it. The third time, I'm like noticing things and watching everything else that I didn't, and now I'm in awe. So you can't, when you're in that very vulnerable place, because we're the worst critics of ourselves, and you can really nitpick yourself to the pulpit. And artists are deeply insecure. We use that insecurity to create the art and magic, and to also analyze a human being.
Or to escape from yourself.
Right? So if you're now gonna have that very vulnerable, insecure moment and then also go on Twitter while you're in that fragile state and then listen to that, you are not going to be able to even get up. You're not going to be even able to make it onto the next set. So I guard myself from that. And I think also that's where my faith comes in, and my family and friends. Know who you are. Know your identity. Have that affirmation. I know my identity in Christ. I know Onako. I'm affirmed at home. I'm affirmed with my day ones who've known me even before this. This is just a job. You know what I mean? Yes, there's criticism, but take it back to the art. And Dumisani literally gave us this pep talk before it came out. Don't care about what anyone else says. Remember the magic. Remember how hard we worked. Remember that we literally Sinyi Seal, and we left our hearts on that floor. And the production company took us out for dinner saying, guys, you guys killed it. Like, we were so affirmed way before the show came out. And we remember the magic we created. So that should be enough.
I remember partying with you guys at Rockets.
Oh, yes! Oh, yeah.
I think, was that the night of the premiere?
That was the night of the premiere.
Yeah, and I remember partying with you guys, but you guys looked comfortable, so I guess you knew that, okay, it's not that bad then.
No, but you know what? We were celebrating.
Yeah.
We were celebrating because, yes, we had only watched episode 1.
Yeah.
We still also don't know what's to come. We don't know how it looks. But we were celebrating because, damn, we worked hard. We really poured ourselves into that show. So it was also just a reunion as well, you know? So, yeah.
Are you happy with the outcome?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. And I'm not really focusing on the outcome. I'm happy with our performances.
Absolutely.
I'm in awe. I'm fans of the cast.
It looks amazing.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you know you guys did kill it.
I know, shame. I believe so. Yeah.
Let's talk about Mpini, because you're busy with that right now.
Yeah, I just came from that. I'm going back to that, so.
And like you said earlier, you're playing a dark character. Yes, you need to get into character, but how taxing is it when it's a dark character?
It's extremely taxing.
Where you might have to dig deeper than you've personally even have ever had to go yourself.
Look, there's a reason I'm wearing a wig, for example, today.
Yeah.
These are things that take me out.
Sure.
Like I'm a very sensory actor. I have a playlist. I have certain songs. I'm always in my earphones that take me back. Even with Savage Beauty, I have a whole soundtrack for Linda and Tando's romance. I just put on a song and it takes me back. You know, I even know what like Undoni's perfume would be or this. Like I literally, so that by the time I'm in it, it's almost like stepping back into those shoes.
Yes.
My body language starts to change. Everything starts to change. So even while talking to you, there are little outbursts of like Ndoni that come out. But I told you you're going to give me like, you know, I'm 80% Nambitha now.
Yeah.
Because you don't just break. I didn't have time to de-roll, you know. But just having this wig and like nails, it's just at least being in my own clothes helps me get back into myself. But I take de-rolling quite seriously because it can get quite dangerous.
Sure.
You don't want to take that back home. You also don't want to take that trauma into your own life. I think when I had to learn the art of de-rolling was when I played a paranoid schizophrenic role on the Queen of Shakwisha. That was hectic. And I remember the director would check up on me and be like, how did you sleep? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I slept fine. It's like, well, he had nightmares because he keeps watching all my takes. And when I wasn't taking the medication and having those dark moments, he has flashbacks of that because he's watching every single time. Whereas for me, I'm living it. But then as soon as I get into my car and I take that hour out,
it's goodbye. You
wash them off, you know. So I'm fine now, but I'm big on boundaries, just generally in life, even more so because of what I do. Yeah.
Are you in a relationship by any chance?
I am.
And how does de-rolling or not de-rolling enough affect relationship dynamics?
It hasn't.
Yeah.
I think because I'm so big on boundaries, I explain it to my partner, I explain it to my family, I explain it to my friends. They know. They know. I put my phone on do not disturb when I'm in script mode.
Sure.
I tend to not speak to anyone. I just isolate. And I just take that time so you won't get that. Because if you call me, I might respond to you, you know, like maybe a bit because I'm here. So I just usually just isolate myself. Even on set, I just isolate. I just find a little corner and keep to myself. And I just put my earphones on because I'm a method actor.
Sure.
And you also don't want your crew to take things the wrong way. But hey, so ngundoni manje kwenzekani? Hey, she was so sharp with me. She was so, you know, you don't want that. You know, it's also just for the people you work with to also understand that we all have our different processes.
Absolutely.
Because I'm such a bubbly person, they know when the switch has happened, and it's like, no, she's just, you know. So that's how I do it. But in my relationship, it is like literally like, hey, I'll be offline during this time. You know what I mean? I'll break out at this time. Yeah.
So given the person that you are, that I described earlier on, would you say you're easy or difficult to date?
Judging from what my partner says, I'm a pleasure to date. But I think I've had to grow.
Yeah.
I've had to grow. I've had to unlearn. I've had to heal. I've had to deprogram. And because I'm already quite self-aware, it helps because I'm already foreseeing something. So I'm letting you know.
Yeah.
I might sound off, or I might be very busy in the next 2 days because my schedule is like this. So don't take it. And then I'll also make sure I feed your love language and affirm you enough.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? And every single break that I have, I'll send a little da-da-da-da.
You still do what you need to get
Absolutely.
done. Absolutely.
No, I need to be present in all roles in my life, you know? You can't. I'm still a daughter. I'm still a sister. You know, I need to still fulfill all those roles. And that's why I say to you, I still have those friends since I was 3. Because I hold those relationships to such a high regard. Yeah.
What roles can we look forward to still?
Honey, we're going international.
I can believe that. I can believe that.
That's where we are. I'm producing a lot more now.
Yeah.
I'm stepping into that, and it is daunting. It is exciting. It's always been the plan.
Yeah.
But for me, Mbini was a manifestation. I've been wanting an action. I did a feature film with Across Palance last year.
Yeah.
That was my first action, and then I knew I needed to delve into this.
Sure.
And it came at the right time. It was that thing of you've been preparing.
Sure.
And then now it's like, oh, this is why.
Hence I say that we think the hard work we do here, when we're done, we're done.
No.
But often it's a year, 2, 5, 10 years later that you realize that, oh, I see you now, Pragod. You were getting me ready for that.
Yes.
So you're there right now.
I'm there right now. I'm excited to really stretch myself beyond measure now.
Yeah.
I'm on a
Didn't you get hurt the other day doing a stunt?
Not the other day. It was the other month in March.
In March, was it March? Yes.
It was in March. It was the first stunt. There was no stunt coordinator, and they are exposed our kusenikupa ma files. Anandaba. Anandaba. There was no stunt coordinator. I was like, how? But we're doing hey. So I was like, hey, but this is how accidents happen, and then now it happens, and now it's like, hey. But it's been a lot of the work that I've been doing has been me in pain.
Sure.
I've been on a 6-month rehabilitation for my back, but I'm still strong. I'm still able to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
What I love though is, with Showmax, there's been a lot of support from clients.
Sure.
Obviously since that happened, now I think everyone's lessons was learned. It's like safety on set is the utmost priority.
Absolutely.
So, even just with the stunt guys, the team that I've worked with, they've been on set, they've considered, working with guys that I'm comfortable with, that I've fought with, that I know. So it's actually been now a pleasure. It did get me down mentally, emotionally down. It got me down. Just even not being able to walk. I mean, I was bedridden for a whole week, and certain things that you do at gym, you're now not able to, and not being able to do your own stunts, which is what I signed up for. It was a proper challenge.
Sure.
I had to kind of just ask God, why now? We just started. I just gained momentum, and then this happens right at the beginning.
I just got here. Just arrived.
But I grew in resilience in different ways through that. I learned a lot.
So you grew either way.
I grew,
Exactly.
man. I saw the purpose in it now.
Yeah.
And now I'm back, with Henry fighting, doing Muay Thai. I'm excited,
The international role you just alluded to now, when do we get to see you?
Well, I'm not saying anything. There's nothing. I'm just saying those are the roles I am now venturing off into.
Okay. That's where we can
so
look
that
for
I'm
you.
not in trouble. Yeah. So, I mean, to 2021, I got headhunted by an agency called Range Media.
Oh, yes.
So it's UK and US representation. It's basically CAA and William Morris who merged together to find to represent their top talent around the world. And it's been great. So it's been a lot of building that on the forefront, but also it takes me to also make a move. And being ready for that move.
Absolutely.
So that's where we are. I think also Essence was at the cusp of that as well. That just also came out of nowhere. Essence landed on my lap.
Yeah.
I just put it out there at the beginning of the year as a prayer, and then God was like, "Bet, I got you, girl."
Sure.
So it's now I'm cognizant of certain changes that I need to make in order to fully actualize that move. And
What are you most grateful for this week? As we try and wrap up, because we're being shouted at.
I'm grateful for a fresh start.
Yeah.
We just had a production break.
True.
For Mbini, and this is our first week back. I'm grateful for that. It's such a phenomenal show, and I'm grateful that it's doing so well for Showmax. I'm grateful to be back with the crew and the cast. I've missed them, even this week,
Sure.
kumnandi man, and we're creating magic. I'm really grateful for that fresh start. I think that is at the top of my this week's list. And I'm grateful for for the heights that God has taken me to. I'm literally just fresh off being in a dream city of New Orleans as a Nina Simone obsessed jazz lover.
The Big Easy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm grateful to have been afforded that opportunity and to host in that magnitude, you know, and be a part of being a voice for this diaspora.
Absolutely.
And the only one there being that voice, you know, and being able to meet different producers and artists and industry players and be at the forefront of Black excellence on a global scale. That was so inspiring.
Would you say your time in New York low-key prepared you for what you had to be doing in New Orleans, for instance?
Absolutely. You know what it is? It's someone tweeted it.
Yeah.
It was the announcement went out and someone was like, oh, well, she spent time in New York so she won't be intimidated by that crowd. She knows it.
Yeah.
And I didn't consider that.
Yeah.
But I think if I had zero experience with the American crowd and realizing how talented and a force us South Africans are, when I was there, I was like, I'm talented.
Exactly.
We have an edge like no other.
Yeah.
And because we are so diverse and because we are so locked into the world, and that's why for me, I can see why Trevor Noah blew up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take an American in his shoes who's going to completely cross over and still master that industry and then some, you know? It's because we're so also internationally woke.
Our worldview is not...
It's not here.
Yeah.
We're here.
Absolutely.
And we're extremely diverse as well. And also South Africans have an edge.
Sure.
We're just special, man, you know? So not also being affirmed in your own magic and knowing that they ain't seen nothing. I'm going to bring who we are.
Because I will always bring something you've never seen.
Absolutely. And being so confident and assured in that, you know? I wish more South Africans were like that.
In fact, I wish every African would understand that your Africanness is a superpower that you need to tap into more. Don't dilute it. You must actually find a way of crystallizing it.
And let it lead you.
Let the crystal form, the crystalline form, is a crystallized form.
Crystallization.
Of your Africanness. Yeah. Let them smoke that. Don't dilute yourself. We get there, we dilute ourselves. How? We start with the accent. All of a sudden you're twanging.
Okay, that's a different conversation now.
We will have the conversation another time when we have time.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
for now, just wanted to thank you for being this inspiring powerhouse that you are, dude. I'm inspired.
Oh.
And I don't get inspired easily.
Oh, wow.
I'm very inspired by your work ethic, by you can tell when a person has prepared for a role. I've never looked at any character that you've played and felt like, she could have done a bit more. Yeah.
Thank you.
And not many people master that. So shout out to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I needed this more than you did. Whew, I needed these affirmations.
No,
thank you.
I can pick these things up.
Yeah, because
the good Lord was like, interview that one next.
Thank you.
Nambitha, thank you, and keep flying, dude. I don't think the world has seen anything yet.
I agree.
I think you're still warming up. You're still you're still gathering bricks, and I'm looking forward to seeing the castle that you're building. And yeah,
I'm excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nambitha is about to leave the building. You'll see her on a screen somewhere. At some stage, you'll be on every screen anyway.
Amen.
So we look forward to that. People must say, yeah, but why is she getting all the gigs? Because she kicks ass at all the gigs.
That's what's up.
Try it. And we are done with another week of Wow, What a Week. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Thank you for sharing the links. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for all of your subscriptions. We'll be doing this again next week. But most importantly, a shout out and thank you to all of our guests and to African Bank for being a part of Fresh Money. Coming to you from downtown Johannesburg, we're at Amped Studios, part of the Africa Podcast Network. Get in touch by emailing waw@africapodcastnetwork.com. Please Please also feel free to get in touch with our videographer, our cinematographer, Trevor at Pezulu Works, and get in touch with our imaging specialist. His name is Otis the Floor Fraser. He can do imaging for your radio show, for your mixes, and for all of your podcasts. Shout out to all of our contributors on the show. Today's show contributors, including Tabiso Sikwane and Keletso Modisakeng. Keletso Modisakeng, also our executive producer. Till next week, have a WAW week in spite of yourselves.